We are back with Cecilia Elizabeth and her Riverhouse Art Gallery. We're going to talk about your beautiful house that you have. So tell us where it's located and how it got started.
Marion, you know where the farmer's market is?
Yes, I do.
I'm a block from the farmer's market, so on a Saturday it's a good place to pop over. We're on Spadina between Avenue C and D, right? Beautiful riverfront view. That house has been bought for the view over the years. I've talked to former owners. It is now 108 years old.
Holy.
We just redid the floors, and they're wonderful old 100-year-old floors. And people look at them and they say they're not perfect. I said, if I was 100, I'd probably not look this good. So it's an old character home. It was built in 1908. When we discovered the house, nobody really wanted it, so we got it for a steal. It was a fixer-upper, and I've always wanted an old character home that was a fixer-upper. So we moved in there, and I had the gallery on the main floor, studio, because I wanted to be out of the basement at our other house. So up we came into the sunlight, and then I started teaching classes. A friend of mine and I started the art gallery. Remember the old days of Art Walk?
I do remember those.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to get into Art Walk, so we
Okay.
found out that you needed to have certain shows. You had to follow certain rules. So we followed the rules, got the gallery started. Wouldn't you know it, the next year they didn't do Art Walk.
Oh my goodness.
But the gallery's still there. So it's a good place for me to show my work. It's a good place to show off the 100-year-old house. And we've actually done open doors over the years. The gardens are extensive and lots of flower beds, lots of themes. I got an idea from visiting Emily Carr's house in Victoria, and they had her quotes from her writings
Oh, really?
in the garden.
What
So
a
I've
neat
done
idea.
the same thing. I've taken some of her quotes, tweaked them a little bit to make them more of my own. So I call it a meditation garden, lots of benches. You can come. I don't even have to be there. You can sit in the yard and dwell on your own thoughts and watch the river go by.
So how many gardens do you have there?
The front yard is 50 by 40 feet, and that's a whole bunch of flower beds. In the back, I have a little oasis for our own personal use, a little patio. The backyard is 40 feet at least or deeper of parking lot,
Okay.
plus a little vegetable garden. That, hallelujah, I think it's growing this year.
Oh, that's good.
So I hope it rains tonight.
It looks like it's going to.
Yeah.
So then, how many years have you been in that house?
We moved in 1997.
Okay.
So we've been there about 20 years approximately. We've done lots of renovations, trying to get it back to its own feeling. It's got that wonderful feng shui. It's I'm the third artist that's lived there. The environment is very peaceful. I'm totally at peace and happy there. It's a creative place to be. There's no old vibes in there that are negative at all. It's a good place to work, and it's a wonderful place to visit.
Okay.
Because if you visit, you get that same feeling of peace and tranquility. I'll play nice and quiet music, elevator music, and make it a part of your day. If you walk in, view the work, enjoy the atmosphere. Sometimes people buy something. Most of the people just walk through to have a look. A lot of them are curious about the house. So we've renovated the old house back to the old woodwork. 20 years, I think I'm just about done.
Okay. So do you know the history of the house? Like who was the first owner or who
I do
built
know.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
That's curious.
The old Henderson directories.
Okay.
Well, I went to the library and haunted them for quite some time. And if you go to the history room at the local library downtown, they know the house by name.
Oh, really?
They call it the Lawton House.
Okay.
We call it Riverhouse.
Okay.
And it was built by Jacob Archibald. Don't know if he's a Archibald Arena guy. I don't know. He was an alderman at the time in 1908. I have a picture of the house from the newspaper of November 1908. New homes in Saskatoon. Ours is one of them. So it was a standalone, beautiful, beautiful home at the time. And they've done extra stuff in it, so it's wonderful. And then it was a rental, rooms to let in the 40s.
Okay.
Because people couldn't afford to live there. They'd rent out rooms, and you had a hot plate and a closet for one dress. It was rooms to let. and there was a big fire at Shirley Services there now. That used to be a Sherwin-Williams or some kind of paint company. And it caught fire, and one of the ladies said that the walls inside the house bubbled.
Oh,
It was
really?
so hot. There was a fire in the 60s, and the insurance company insisted that they didn't rip it down, hallelujah. And then in the 70s, it was boarding house. It has been a halfway house. We've had some people that have lived there that haven't had the best reputations, but some of them also have, a lot of them are university students, and they went on to be in the public eye and in politics. So I have quite a list of who's lived there. People come by and say, oh, I used to live here, or I used to play
that's kinda
here.
neat.
So I have an idea how the house was laid out, know where the kitchen was, and a couple of questions I've had that never been answered, and about what was here or what was there. Not many photographs to go by, but a few. So the history is really rich. I would designate it as a historic house, but I don't want to go to the designation of heritage house because there's too many rules to follow.
Okay,
I'm not a
with
rule
that.
follower.
Yes.
So it's a very historic house.
Well, and it's a very beautiful house. I've been there. And so people just drop in, or do they have to phone you, or how do they
I'm
come?
open every day but Friday and Sundays.
And what are the hours?
It's supposed to be 9 to 5, but I'm like a tattoo artist, odd and unusual hours.
Okay.
You know, if my sister calls me and says, hey, let's do lunch, I'm gone.
Okay.
I'm going for lunch. So I have a neon sign in the window. If it's turned on, it's open. I should be hanging around there somewhere. If the sign's not on, knock at the door. I might have forgot to turn the sign
sure.
on. So, you know, you never know if I'm there or not. But I try to be there 5 or 6 days a week. I live there. We live upstairs.
Okay,
So it's easy for me to be there. And I can be working maybe in the garden at the back, but I'm still in the yard somewhere.
So do you have a visitor's guest book that people come in, and have you had famous people come through?
I used to have a guest book. I got tired of asking people to sign it, so that went by the wayside. I have, you know, the funny thing is I can say, Marion, that I'm an international artist because people who've come there have bought gifts for people who've moved to Australia or moved to England. I have artwork all over the world because people have come to and said, oh, I have a friend that's moving away. I need a picture of Saskatoon. Great place to get a Saskatoon souvenir painting. And then they ship it off somewhere to Europe or England or something, and then I'm an international artist.
You are, and I've seen your work, and it's very beautiful. And it's unique because you have a Saskatoon flavor to a lot of your work that I've seen. But do you just focus on any or Saskatoon?
I used to do a lot of rural areas. I have many images of Humboldt, all the cathedrals.
Did you grow
and
up in
churches.
Humboldt?
I was born in Humboldt.
Okay, so-
And one day I was at a show. The local veterinarian said, hey, I like your work. Would you paint Marysburg Church? That's where my daughter got married.
Okay.
So I painted Marysburg. Oh, by the way, I need it by Christmas. It's November 22nd. So I got that done. By the time I got to see him at Christmas time, he said, would you do 15 more for me of all the local cathedrals?
Holy.
Then I got all the historic buildings. So he ended up buying 30 paintings. So, hey, I'm collected.
Exactly, beautiful.
So Humboldt, and then I would go to other rural shows. If I do a show in Yorkton, I'm going to take photographs of the historic buildings in Yorkton, do some images up for them for the show so that local people can buy art of their local buildings. So yeah, I travel throughout Saskatchewan teaching classes. In fall, for the last 5 years, I've drive to Wilkie on Mondays to teach a class in Wilkie.
Okay, so you're very diverse and you do a lot of things. And we're so lucky to have a famous artist in Saskatchewan and Saskatoon living here and contributing such a beautiful gallery to Saskatoon. And so that's why I wanted to have you on my show, because you rock. Because I always think people that have talents should develop them and share them with the world. And you are truly living the dream.
And you do it through your writing. So,
Yes.
And there's so many of us out there. There's room for everybody. I don't believe that there isn't room for people. Everybody does so much different stuff. And I'm involved in the exhibition art displays. And at one point in time, somebody said to me, your stuff is everywhere. And I said, by design, because I did every show, every place I could display for the first 7 years of my career after I stopped working for the sign company. I said, I've got 7 years to get this moving, so I need to do all the shows. It's got my name known, and then I can now sit back in my retirement, semi-retirement. Artists never retire.
Exactly. But
I have
it's truly
a
a passion.
lifestyle.
It's a passion for you, and it shows in your work. And I know you have your beautiful mural at the Circle Centre Mall.
Yeah, and a few other places. I just got a phone call to touch up the one downtown. You know where the old Army and Navy used to be? The school board office
school
now,
board,
right?
yes,
The old
yeah.
Eaton's building?
Yeah.
Well, if you go to the office part off 4th, there's 2 murals in there.
Oh, okay. I
And-
didn't know that. I'll have to head down there and see those.
If you live in Wiseman, Saskatchewan, there's a 25 by 40 feet mural on the side of a building in Wiseman, Saskatchewan.
So your
I'm
work
not-
is everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not like Mr. Froese, who used to do all the murals in Moose Jaw. I haven't done as many as he have, but I also do murals. I do kids' bedrooms,
Okay.
nurseries. I did my grandson's bedroom. I thought for sure my son should hire me for free, of course. So I painted monkeys on the wall for him.
So if people want to take your classes, can you remind us again of your contact information?
The best thing to do, because I'm only learning social media, is to phone me.
Okay. And
I
that
have
number
an
is?
answering machine.
Okay. So what's your number?
306 933 2399. Cecilia Elizabeth. And yes, Marion, my last name is Elizabeth.
Okay, there you go. Well, thank you very much again for being on my show.
Thank you for asking me.
That was Cecilia Elizabeth, a professional fine artist.